the Velocity Radio podcast. This is episode number 21. I'm your host today, Ben Newbold, and I'm with Sophia Harris. How are you doing, Sophia?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you very much. So Sophia has come through a mutual friend. I kind of know of Sophia and been following her on social media as well. So Sophia, do you just want to kind of give a little bit of a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah. Sophia.
Yeah.
Lived in Leeds all my life. So I'm, God, I was forgetting how old I was then. 31, nearly.
No way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. At the end of this year, I'm 31.
Yeah.
Always been into fitness in some way.
Yeah.
Not always for the right reasons, which we'll cover.
Yeah.
And yeah, my whole career and life now is built around helping people with their nutrition, but supporting them with their mental health as well.
Yeah. So. That sounds great. So we'll get into that. So what kind of got you into fitness then? What?
In all honesty, I struggled. So we'll cover it probably in more detail as we go, but when I was younger, I struggled with eating disorders. So I had disordered eating from a very, very young age. So strange eating habits, because as a child I suffered with OCD and like just general obsessive behaviours. A natural pattern of that is to at some point then start controlling food. So anorexia started probably when I was about 12.
Crikey.
Yeah.
That's young.
So it is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a very well-known thing when I was that age.
Right.
So it wasn't really spoke about. There wasn't help online like there is now. There was like one eating disorder charity, so it was very confusing, very difficult. My parents didn't know about the signs because they weren't educated in it. So it spiraled quite quickly out of control.
Right.
And I kind of flipped between anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, obsessions with exercise, so hours of exercise a day. And that, unfortunately, is how I got into fitness.
Right, yeah, I was going to say that's quite a dark route to get into fitness there then.
Not a great way. I mean, my dad is really, really fit and healthy, so he is 70 next year.
Right.
And he is ridiculously fit. He goes out on like day-long bike rides, climbs Kilimanjaro for fun. Like, he's just insane. Yeah, it's insane.
Age is just a number to your dad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So he had always tried to get me into fitness and being outdoors when I was younger. Always loved sport at school. But when I was at school, I used it more of a reason to get out of lessons. So that was, again, not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But as far as training, I guess better and healthier, I probably started weightlifting properly and eating better about 7-8 years ago. Right.
Yeah. And was that a change that happened for yourself? Whether a page that you turned or?
Kind of. So I'd been in and out of eating disorders for a very long time, probably about 10 years.
Right.
I'd lived with friends, and gone through that phase when you live with your friends where you're out drinking all the time and eating rubbish.
Yeah.
And I just felt shit. Like, I felt poorly. I'd always get cold. I didn't like how I looked.
Right.
And I just thought I really need to try and get on top of this once and for all, because it's really impacting other areas of my life, like confidence at work was suffering.
Right.
I was constantly just felt like I was doing everything right, but obviously not, because I was still, even when I wasn't training in the right ways and I wasn't educated enough on exercise and the types of things I should be doing, as far as everyone was concerned, I was still the one that was into the gym and healthy, because I've used gym since I was like 16. So everyone would always assume that was the case.
Yeah.
Now you can look healthy but not, and again we'll cover that, but
yeah.
and not be healthy and not be eating right and know that you're doing it but still not know a way out. So I started powerlifting with a coach. I was about 23, and I was just really, really strong.
Yeah.
And obviously that gave me a lot of confidence. I learned about how to lift properly. And then from that, I swapped over to more of a bodybuilding style of training, probably 2-3 years after. Right. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah. No, that's well, you've obviously made a good change there and developed into a more structured way of doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we'll kind of scale it back then. So when you first started at 12 years old, what was it like? How at that age do you start?
So I was bullied in primary school for being fat.
Right.
And I guess I was chubby, but I wasn't like, I mean, some child obesity we see now is horrific, but
Yeah, it is.
I was never that scale, but obviously kids are awful.
Yeah.
And I definitely think at that age it really sticks with you and you think a lot into it.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason I decided I wanted to lose weight and realised that the less I ate, the more weight I lost. I had quite a difficult relationship with my parents.
Right.
From a very young age. So I realised that as I lost weight, I got attention from them. So that again was like a bit of a negative spiral. They were desperately trying to do what they thought was right, which actually encouraged my disordered eating behaviours. So the way I see it is that we've got eating disorders and we've got disordered eating, and it's two completely different things. So a lot of people have disordered eating, but very few people have eating disorders.
Right.
And you've got people with disordered eating claiming that they are diagnosed with an eating disorder, which is just wrong.
So if you were to separate the two, then how would you describe them?
Okay, so you've got the three main eating disorders: anorexia, bulimia and binge eating.
Yeah.
And then disordered eating is any eating habit that becomes obsessive, impacts your day-to-day, food control in your mind, and that can quite quickly spiral out of control to develop into an eating disorder.
Right.
But if you've just got disordered eating, it's far easier to overcome than an eating disorder.
Right. So would you say that that'd almost be like a gateway?
Yes.
That could potentially happen.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
evolve
sometimes
into
it happens and there's there's always, I believe, a trigger and signs, but so a lot of clients I work with now have disordered eating.
Yeah.
A lot of people I speak to have family members and friends that have disordered eating, and it's much easier to put things in place to overcome that and get more normal eating behaviours.
Yeah.
But nowadays, eating and how we view food as a society is so... There's just there is no normal. There's no normal in anything. But we've developed a lot of unhealthy food behaviours anyway.
Yeah.
That don't help disordered eating.
It does.
So.
Yeah, and if you think of other external stresses that might come along to people, job, work, like you said, family life, like having massive amounts of children and things like that could all kind of make your eating go to pop almost. And then by the time that you know it, you're 6 months, 12 months, 3 years down the line, and you've been following the same routine, and wondering why you constantly got headaches and you're dehydrated and you snap ratty at people and things, and it can come down to that nutrition. It can bode a lot for your wellness, can't it? Yeah. So have you found that? So you work with people now, don't you, Sophia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it full time now for a month.
Yeah.
I used to be a financial advisor, but obviously the two are quite different.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you've gone from the very kind of office-based financial advisor role into that. So what made you swap?
It was a massive decision.
Yeah.
I'd worked in finance, so I started working for the Halifax when I was 16, as soon as I left school.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I was very qualified at a young age and built up a great reputation, had some amazing clients that I worked with for years. And it was great. I had an office at home, I did a couple of hours work a day. So luckily I was kind of able to build up what I'm doing now a bit on the side, but it got to the point where the job I was getting paid to do was taken away from what I really wanted to do. Yeah. And despite a really nice basic guaranteed salary, I was just like, it's just not serving me.
Yeah.
And it was a really tough time, because I'm getting married next year and I've got a mortgage. Thank you. Yeah. And I've got a mortgage, but I just knew that I had to kind of take that step.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just got bigger and bigger since then.
Yeah, it's a big commitment as well, isn't it? Because you've got this stability of having the good job and everything. But there were a podcast I was listening to not so long ago, and it kind of said if there's no passion, there's no point. So it's like if you're doing something like, obviously you'd have enjoyed your financial work at one point, but that may not be in the hierarchy above helping people with nutrition. So,
I mean, I think I was passionate about it when I started.
Yeah.
And I was very good at it because I'm a very good salesperson.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we all have to be. Like, we're selling ourselves all day, every day.
Yeah.
So I did love it, and I loved going out and seeing people because that's what I like doing, just face to face.
Mm-hmm.
But your passions can change over time.
Yeah, of course.
And I found something that I was naturally very, very good at without realising.
Yeah.
So I started off just doing food plans and nutrition coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of snowballed into, well, it's kind of nutrition and mindset coaching, I call it now.
Right, yeah.
So I realised that once I'd done clients a food plan,
Mm-hmm.
and they were following the plan and eating all the food and felt great, and the weight's coming off or going on, whatever their goal might be.
Yeah.
Once they've realised the sorts of foods they can eat and get to where they want to be,
Mm-hmm.
and they've trusted me, and then they've let me take control, we then start looking at other areas in their life.
Yeah.
So I'd be talking to them, and it was never about food.
Mm-hmm.
It was about how they're thinking and feeling, and why has that led to the food behaviours and thoughts and anxieties, fears of gaining weight, fears of losing weight, food behaviours that don't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you give people like that a platform to talk about it, so that
Mm-hmm.
they can vocalise how they're feeling, they can realise that how they think is irrational.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's all in your head,
Yeah.
you're telling yourself that how you're eating is fine and normal and serving a purpose, and it's
Yeah.
better than it was when you were anorexic. But is it? Like, have you just developed another eating behaviour to cover up identifying an issue
Yeah.
that really needs tackling?
Yeah. It's like putting a plaster over it and just
Yeah.
putting your eggs into a different basket almost.
Yeah.
But you're completely right. Certain things can happen that relate to you fancying a takeaways all the time and stuff, and when maybe it's not that extent if you're dealing with somebody with an eating disorder. But
Well, it can, I mean, to me, disordered eating.
yeah.
So society now. Oh, this is something I go on about all
No,
the time. My
yeah,
clients
let's
will be
get into
like,
it.
"Shut up, Sophia." So now we are at a time where people think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
You finish work on a Friday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And as soon as that clock hits 5, people think that calories don't count.
Yeah.
And they go to the pub on the way home on a Friday, then they'll get a takeaway. Saturday morning they wake up and they'll have a fried breakfast. They go out for brunch. They might eat out on Saturday night,
Yeah.
have a few more drinks. Sunday they feel like shit, so they just eat rubbish all day.
And then a big Sunday dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah, to flush it all down.
but it's fine because, you know, they've been good all week, so they deserve it.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is absolutely fucked. Like,
Yeah.
it's not healthy. You're not fueling your body.
Yeah.
You feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
You gain a lot of weight doing that. Like, I did that for when I lived with my friends for like 4 years. We had the best time. Like, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
But it's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you can't do it long term. And I get clients coming to me, and basically that is the average overweight person's food diary.
It is, and I reckon not even average, because I can probably pinpoint a good couple of weeks that I've done that this year.
Yeah.
Just because it is kind of like the norm. If you want to follow it in terms of what your parents maybe did growing up and things like that, it is kind of one of those things. I'm sure we've just explained your Saturday night, haven't we?
The thing is,
Or
I
something.
do it
Yeah,
occasionally, and this is what I get across to my clients. So, eating like that or drinking to excess occasionally is not harmful. Nothing is harmful to excess. Well, obviously, some things aside. And we are all human, and we will overeat and we will overdrink, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when it becomes a pattern that you justify, because a lot of people do it and they don't gain a lot of weight, or they don't start feeling rubbish, or for some people it's that they actually lose weight, because a lot of people come to me and feel that because they're underweight they shouldn't want to gain weight, because people look at them and think that they're lucky, you can eat whatever you want, and actually they need to gain weight to be healthy. That's a massive issue that does need addressing as well. So whatever it is, they aren't getting there because of behaviours that they are told are normal because everyone else does it. But why? does everyone else do it?
Yeah.
And when you actually look at the people that constantly do it, they're not achieving what they want to in their life.
Yeah.
They've probably, this is all assumptions, there will be some people that do it that are fine.
Yeah, small percentage.
Yeah. And if they know how, then please let me know, because I would love to master it all. They've probably not got great relationships, great friendships. They're probably one of those sorts of people that are like a people pleaser.
Yeah.
So they feel like they have to go to everything and do everything for other people. Constantly exhausted, constantly stressed. Don't ever feel like they have any time for themselves. It's a big cycle that British people, it's like a British culture. And it's just, it's awful. Like, yeah.
No, so it's almost like deemed that you're successful if you're too busy.
Yeah.
And you are stressed. If you're not stressed out with work, what are you even working?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, but yeah, no, like I say, it's a massive thing. And do you think, because that what we've talked about there, that could easily be embedded through family and friends and tight knit circles. But what about maybe sometimes the things that we see online? Do you think that can... Have you found that with any people that you've worked with in the past, or maybe even with yourself?
No. So I love social media. I think it's a great place if used in the right ways.
Yeah.
But if people are looking for the wrong stuff or looking to justify their own shit behaviour, social media is a perfect place to do that.
Yeah.
Because you can build up online communities, and I do that because... One of the things I massively stress with my clients is having real relationships in real life and looking at the people that have always been there for you. Because like say I went vegan and I put it online and I use vegan hashtags, all of a sudden I'd have a vegan family that was so supportive of me. But they don't know me, they don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They don't even know why I've decided to go vegan. It's just this online support that isn't real. Because take away the vegan, you don't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues with social media, that people constantly seek gratification and validation from people online that they don't know.
It can be very superficial in that way, because they don't know that one sole person. It's almost like tribal, if you think of it.
Like a cult with some stuff. And do you know what? I'm so aware that a lot of what I talk about, because there's a lot of sayings that I use, and one thing that I say a lot on my social media is that I help people change their life with what they've already got.
Yeah.
And
it's a nice saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And you don't actually need any more than what you have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. And it's because I've realised that over time with the work that we spoke about before that I've done on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm aware that I sound like a cult sometimes, or like I hate it, because I do hate network marketing.
Yeah. Don't even get onto that.
Oh, we don't have time.
No.
But yeah, anyone that tells you that they can help you build your own business that's not actually your own business.
And then you look on Companies House and see that they're not actually on there.
Yeah.
And you think, what's happening?
Where's the regulation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bullshit. But anyway, that's a podcast for another day, maybe.
It is, yeah.
I can't remember what we were saying because network marketing makes me angry.
We'll stay away from network marketing. Yeah. So we'll stick to kind of like why some things on social media. So like the beauty and the beast of social media.
So we've got to remember as well, you choose what you see, so you can control your content.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've looked on my coaching page, but I follow like 80 people. So I only follow, I need to make sure you guys are on there. I only follow people whose stuff I read.
Yeah.
And now, so at some points, obviously we all have more free time and we scroll, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Currently I'm quite busy and I don't have time. I'll see some stuff, but if I don't read something and if I don't absorb it, then I don't like or comment. I'll just ignore it.
Yeah.
I also don't let anything online cause a negative reaction. So if I see something and I disagree, I used to really get involved with like calling people out and saying that's bullshit, because if I disagreed with something, I was like, no, I'm right and my point's right.
Yeah.
But I've realised that you've really got to stay in your lane and specialise with what you know. So for me, that's people with disordered eating and mental health and mindset and nutrition. And anything else, anything outside of that is only going to take away your time helping people that you can really help. So if I see like shit diet products or people are talking about Slimming World or Weight Watchers or all that bullshit, keto,
Yeah.
like anything like that, I will still call out because I see that that's kind of my area.
Yeah.
But I stay away from anything else really in the fitness industry that doesn't concern me,
Yeah.
isn't my, and when I say target audience, I don't target a specific client, but I attract a specific client.
Yeah.
Anything that isn't going to help them, I just kind of keep out of.
Yeah.
I'm very much with social media. I've got a business head on,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't get involved with people that aren't going to benefit me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my friends, I've got my family.
Mm-hmm.
I had them before social media.
Yeah.
They'll be there way after Instagram and Facebook closes down.
Yeah.
Because it is just an app.
Yeah.
And people get so obsessed with it.
You can, and I went through a phase where I just kind of just completely got rid of it, but then I really struggled because obviously with the company and business and everything,
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult to kind of take yourself away from it. My wife, she doesn't have it,
Okay.
and it's like, and she hasn't had it for, I want to say around about 8 years.
That's really good.
And that would down to a fact that the things that she was seeing on there, she was getting very anxious
Yeah.
when she'd post a picture and maybe she'd tell herself that a couple of her friends saw it but hadn't liked it,
Oh, you
and
see,
then coming up with stories in her
yeah,
head.
but
by
why?
then, and
Yeah, but
then-
why would you care?
Exactly.
Like my
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
will see me do a nutrition post or another picture of me and my dog.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll be like, fuck's sake, so if I've seen like 10 of them. I don't put stuff online. I love social media. I do love posting some personal stuff as well.
Yeah,
But that's for me. That's what I'm doing. That's what I like.
yeah,
I genuinely, if I do an educational post,
yeah,
I like looking at who's liked it or commented on it because I know the people that will take stuff away from my coaching page.
yeah,
Because I've probably had a conversation with them about bulimia and then I post them about bulimia
Yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
they
yeah.
watch it. That's great.
Mhm.
But my personal stuff, like I quite often on a lot of my personal stuff, I take the piss out of how people think social media should be.
Yeah,
And like, you know, you've got people that, so someone goes to a gig to see someone that they've been desperate to see all their life, and they
Mhm.
film the whole thing on their phone. It's like,
Oh.
for fuck's sake, I don't want to scroll through my
Yeah.
stories and see, like, you're there to watch it. Do a bit, like your
Yeah.
favourite song, fine,
yeah.
but it's a joke. Like,
Sometimes I see some of my friends will go to these raves, right? And it's like a night in friggin' Mint Warehouse or something.
how do they
2
have their
a.m. at
phone
night.
in the air?
And they've got the phone in their video in it, and then all you see is everybody else's screens that they've got also in the
Yes.
video in it, and I'm like, it's just a bass line that'd throb your head if
Yeah,
you kept
I
listening to it. It's
know.
like there's not even any live act there or anything.
And they're not going to
making-
listen back to it, so I don't get that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think it does frustrate me a little bit. Like people are almost forgetting to live in the moment.
But sometimes I do it. Like this is
Yeah.
like everything I say. Sometimes it's fine, but any obsession that has a potentially negative consequence
Yeah.
or takes away from what you're trying to achieve, that's when it's bad.
Yeah.
So some people might go and see someone and want to film the whole thing. You know that if
I think it's fine if you're going to watch it back. And then you've got it, and you maybe want to show your gran or your mum or dad that may not have like social media and wanted to be there and didn't see it.
Yeah, that's a bit different.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's different. But I think to constantly keep doing it and almost like do it for a chauvinistic way.
Yeah,
just
like
kinda
I'm
just-
here, you're not, sort of thing.
Exactly. I think that's when it needs to be knocked on the head a little bit.
Yeah. I think like anything, if
Mhm.
there's not bad intentions behind it and they're not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Because people again get so worked up about what other people are doing, whether it's online or real life.
Yeah.
We become so
exactly.
infatuated by almost calling things out or disagreeing with things. But unless it's gonna, I always say, unless it's gonna impact people mentally or physically in a negative way, like, why are you bothered?
Yeah.
Why are you spending time getting stressed out about someone else or what they're saying or what they're doing, like I said, online
Yeah.
or in real life? Because that mental battle in your head
Yeah.
is only going to negatively impact you. That person's still going to do what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whether they're a dickhead or not, like, they're not going to listen to you.
They've posted it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Apart from comment underneath it
And get stressed.
Yeah. It's nothing's necessarily going to happen. But I like what you said there, that you only follow X amount of people, because that is one thing that
Oh no,
I've
that's
done
on my coaching page.
on your coaching
on my
page.
personal one. So when I started Instagram,
Right.
I thought you had to follow everyone that followed you back. Like I
Right.
genuinely thought that was a rule.
Yeah.
So that I'm trying to delete. Yeah, how bad's that?
Is that, do I know you? Right, unfollow.
But so I am trying to delete people on
Yeah.
that one now, but
Yeah.
it's a ball ache.
But I do think that, because how many times do we look at this phone a day? It is a lot.
I'm
like
on mine from the second I wake up to the second I go to bed.
Exactly. I mean, it's very difficult now because we rely a lot on our phones. So
Yeah.
it's like, so it wakes us up in the morning. Sometimes it can tell you when to go to sleep. You can meditate through it. I don't know how that works, but you can. We rely on it a lot. So we look at our phones a lot of the times during the day. Depending on what you're looking at on social media, you choose to actually see what you're looking at. So if you're seeing things that you don't necessarily like, or don't necessarily agree with, or that sometimes does make you feel a little bit
So if you
negative,
like compare yourself, maybe.
exactly,
Yeah.
then I think that's the time to just get shut of that individual that's making you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like that. There is an unfollow button, and I think that's what sometimes people.
Well, next to an
don't
unfollow button is a mute button.
Yeah.
So on my own page, I think I've only got about 200 people that I actually see anything of, because everyone else is muted.
Yeah.
Because some people are worried about offending.
Yeah.
But then, like, some of my friends, I don't follow some of my friends. Some of my friends don't follow me. It's
Yeah.
not fucking real.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
it's not,
Doesn't
you're not following me on Instagram, so we've been friends for 15 years, but
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, no.
Doesn't
it's
mean you're not going to bump
ridiculous.
into them down the street and not talk to them.
No, but I
It's
mean, like, real proper friends. Some of them don't
Yeah.
give a shit about what I'm doing in my life, career-wise,
Yeah.
but for me and personally, and people that I've known for years, like, they care, but they already
Yeah.
know what I'm doing because I'm in touch with them over the phone, or I see them face to face.
Yeah. Of course.
So
Yeah.
people just get such a warped sense of what is real. And that is something I am concerned about, like the generation growing up now,
Yeah.
that they're not being taught how to form normal relationships.
Yeah.
And we have almost created that with how, I mean, my whole business has grown on social media. If I didn't have social media, I would still be a financial advisor.
Yeah.
So for me, like, it's absolutely essential.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to get to a point in the future where I don't need it as much. But obviously, it's a free marketing tool.
It is. Yeah. It is. And any company, whether they're late to it or new to it, they'll think, oh, I need these pages before they've even got a website.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of those
Yeah.
things now. You have a Facebook page before you have a website.
What I do.
Yeah.
My website is being built, but yeah.
Well, we'll have to give that a shout out when it is all up and running as well.
You are.
Yeah, cool. So we'll link it back into kind of like nutrition then.
Yes.
And what we're talking about. So we've talked about kind of the social anxiety is looking at things and not making you feel a certain way. But what about the root causes of eating things and it making you feel a certain way? So I know, say for example, if I go home tonight, right, and my wife says, right, we're gonna have a Chinese, like the smile on my face that'll happen.
Do you love Chinese?
Oh yeah. That's my go-to takeaway. You know,
not pizza.
No, not pizza.
Oh
no.
God.
Every now and again I'd have a pizza, but my go-to takeaway is a Chinese. We'll run that as a poll after. We'll be like, right, is it pizza or
Oh,
Chinese?
it's definitely. So what about you?
Has to be Chinese.
What?
Chinese.
Get out.
You've come to the wrong
Podcast is
podcast.
off.
If you
Turn it off.
if you're a pizza lover, it's the wrong podcast.
No, I don't even like Chinese. But anyway. carry on.
All right, okay. We'll meet somewhere in the middle then.
Yeah.
Right, so that'll make me feel a certain way. And then all of a sudden, I'll eat it, and then around about 45 minutes to an hour after, I'll then start to feel a little bit stodgy. Now, there's a lot of physiological effects that'll happen internally that will make you feel like, oh gosh, I feel like I've been hit by a bus, but I've only eaten a Chinese. But what about then when people follow that structure 2 to 3 times a week, it becomes a habit, it becomes an unhealthy habit. What about that then leading into maybe their own like well-being, so like their own thoughts, they might think a certain ways and almost
so
like,
I mean, you think you're kind of talking about takeaways and I guess junk food at an extreme, because I would say 3 takeaways a week is extreme. I don't mean eating out 3 times, I mean 3, because when you get a takeaway you don't just have 1 portion of food and half a packet of the rice. You generally have like a whole massive plate full, chips, prawn crackers, everything's on there. And if people are doing that regularly, it will have a massively detrimental effect, mentally and physically. One, you don't have room. So probably, I teach my clients about how to fuel their bodies while they enjoy food as well. So for me, if you look at the definition of nutrition, it is about fueling your body.
Of course,
that's what it stands for.
Yeah.
So that's what I try and teach people, but then how to incorporate things like Chinese. Now, my clients might be able to eat a takeaway, but I would say any more than one, because there's a massive difference between a takeaway and sitting on the sofa and gorging yourself on Chinese. Some people do it in secret. That's an issue, a massive issue. If you're doing it with your wife once a month, fine.
Yeah.
But I would encourage clients to go and eat out. So go to a Chinese restaurant. Try and use the chopsticks. No, don't try and use the chopsticks.
Not for rice, it'll take the piss.
Yeah. But try and, it's nice going out with your partner. It's sociable. You get dressed up. You're less likely to force feed because you're in public.
Yeah.
And again, overeating occasionally is absolutely fine. But when that, you do it the once and you have that awful stodgy feeling, but then it gets to 2 nights later and you're like, I'm really tired, I can't bother to cook, I really fancy a Chinese. You're then justifying it because you've done it a couple of nights before. Yeah. And before you can get into that spiral. So obviously you would gain a massive amount of weight from doing that. Unless you were really restricting food and over-exercising at other times. Yeah. And that's a massive issue in itself. Because whether people weight train or not, most of my clients actually don't use a gym. Right. Whether you weight train or not, you need to fuel yourself for life. So we're sat at computers all day, your brains need to be working, we drive a lot, you need to be switched on, you need to be focused. I encourage all of my clients to get outside. The only thing that I would, again, it's so generalised, which is why it's difficult, but I love the gym, but most people don't. Like most people, when you look at an average 100 people. Yeah. So I would encourage everyone to get outside, go for a walk, get your kids outside, because you can do it anytime, any weather. Like my clients know that rain, snow, cold, dark is not an excuse. Yeah. And I don't make them hit a certain step target, but just getting outside. So obviously gaining a massive amount of weight reduces your capacity to be able to do that, and that's going on an extreme level. But if you've just inhaled a 6-course Chinese takeaway, you're not going to want to go out for a walk.
Yeah, it's the last thing that you want in. You're too full. Yeah.
And it's, again, how it makes you feel about yourself. So that spiral of turning to junk food regularly, you're probably going to feel guilty. Yeah. And you should never feel guilty about food. Yeah. Again, that's what I do a lot of work on with clients. So some clients would actually have a challenge to eat a Chinese takeaway without feeling guilt, or without having to overcompensate with exercise or restricting food. Yeah. And you've almost got to get people to do it for them to realise that it doesn't, occasionally a Chinese takeaway doesn't have a negative effect. But anything overconsumed will.
Yeah, of course it will. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you with that. But what about the flip side of that then, Sophia? When, say for example, if you deal with, like Oliver, like bodybuilding and stuff, a very restrictive diet, for following it for a very long time. Now, years ago I did mine, but I always remember.
What, you did bodybuilding?
Men's physique. So bikini.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
You should see some of the physique guys now. They're absolutely
monsters.
Jesus, and shredded.
They'd be like 212 guys. Yeah. Like a lot of them. They'd be frigging just a set of legs off being a 212 guy, aren't they? So, but yeah, I remember following calorie restricted diets. Did for 2 years, both surplus and restrictive, and it's that feeling of no longer doing it. So it's almost like you've been cast aside, and I kind of remember that this is a complete and utter kind of like what's the word for it? I've blown it out of proportion. Yeah. But it were almost like
freedom with food.
Yeah, it was like leaving the army, and I've never left the army, and I know that's I've blown it out of water by saying that. But you've been following something for such a long time. Yeah. So in that instance, it were like just over 18 months, because it went through a losing and a gaining and then losing. And then,
actually sometimes the gaining is as strict as the losing, if not strict.
And worse, I thought. Yeah, I really struggled with overfeeding myself. So it were like, what now?
Right.
And then it's difficult to eat something without doing mental maths in your head and working out what the calories are, what the protein is, what the fats are, what the carb content is, and then thinking, can I fit that into what I'm supposed to be eating today? Oh, actually, it doesn't matter now. And then all of a sudden you're like,
where'd you go?
When does that not become addictive?
Okay.
When does that not become kind of like almost like not an illness?
Yeah, and disordered eating.
Yeah.
So I've literally today been listening to a podcast on this, so I'll give you it before I go.
Yeah. Please do, yeah.
And this is something that I try not to get into because that whole staying in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a lifestyle client. So if I've got someone that's competed 3 years ago that wants a normal lifestyle relationship with food, I will take them on.
Yeah.
But I don't do competing, it's not me, I've never done it, so I can't look after those sorts of clients. I would never even try. I have a lot of opinions on it, obviously. You know, my partner does it. I'm not in the bodybuilding community, but I go to shows because of him, and I know a lot of people that compete. Massive amount of respect for anyone that puts themselves through that, because what we have to realise is that there's normal eating, there's eating disorders, and then there's a period of time that eating has to be disordered to get you to a goal. And that's fine, because you've chose to do it. A lot of what I do with clients is about choices. So when anyone develops eating disorders, they have chosen that behaviour. They just haven't got ahead of the trigger or the emotional response. So with prep and with bodybuilding, whether it's bulking or cutting for a show, you have to control it to that extreme extent to get to the end goal. So this is why your reasons for getting to that end goal have to be so clear. And now we've got so many people that compete for the wrong reasons. So everything we talked about with social media, the bodybuilding industry just fuels that massively and just adds to it, and it's just...
Oh, big time. I mean, it's I was quite lucky. I kind of did mine before it all kind of started kicking into gear. I think I did mine more or less just before I got an Instagram page. So I was late to party anyway. There's no point in me putting my little participation award pictures up on there. Whether it was like, my mum's proud of me.
Did you do prep on your own then?
No, I had a guy that helped me. Just a friend. We've had him on podcast before, Jordan. Again, there were no kind of like big what you deem as big coaches, big names. I mean, I won't go
See, that's what's so important, having a good coach. So a lot of people in bodybuilding or fitness, so fitness industry in general, cover up their eating issues with fitness and with health and with bodybuilding.
More than just their eating issues, I believe. I think that there's sometimes a deep inset root as to why people do it.
Well, there always
stem
is.
from anything.
Anytime,
it's
apart
addiction.
from of course it is. Or it's that seeking that external validation because they hate themselves and they don't know where they're going with their life, and they think that competing will solve that. And it makes it worse. Of course. So there's very few people nowadays that compete for the right reasons. There's a lot in Leeds that I've known for many years from being in gyms that do compete for the right reasons that people should really listen to. But unfortunately, they're getting sucked into these Insta-famous influencers.
No, it does, and it frustrates you because it's very difficult for the person that's new to it now to try and find those people.
You just need to look old school. This is the thing. People that train old school, think old school. I don't necessarily mean... There are some younger ones coming through that have those ethics and that standard and that dedication. So to me, and with bodybuilding, you've obviously got a few years that you can go at it while it's healthy, because we all know what it entails. Well, what it entails for most people. And obviously there's only a certain window that you can do that. But with what you said about being off prep and you then overthinking food, there's a lot of people that after any restrictive diets, let's not talk about bodybuilding because it pisses me off, but any restrictive diet, which could be a bodybuilding prep, you can't include all the micronutrients and different food sources in a restrictive diet if you've got to drop a lot of weight quickly. That's a fact. It's impossible. At some point, you might be able to start with a diverse range of foods, but at some point, that is going to get less and less and less. Your output is going to get more because you are pushing your body through and you're trying to get to a level of body fat that's not natural, everything inside you is fighting against what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So you have to push it that far if you want to get there. So at some point when that's finished, whether it's for a show, whether it's a holiday, why anyone would want to diet that far for a holiday, don't know, but whatever it's for, all of a sudden, that light at the end of the tunnel, you've stepped off stage, you've got in your bikini on holiday, and it's like, I don't have to eat chicken and broccoli 6 times a day anymore.
Yeah.
I can go to the buffet, or I can go out with friends and family, and I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
And again, short term, so a night, a day, a couple of days, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if people have a love for fitness and health, yeah, you need to rest and have some time off the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when people completely fall out of love with nutrition and training, and you never see them in the gym again, and if you do, they've gained 2 stone in like a week. You are going to gain a lot of weight very quickly. That's a fact.
Because your body just wants it. It's been deprived of those nutrients. Why? Well, it's, if you think back to like hunter-gatherer days, feast and famine. Sometimes you'd eat a big buffalo, and then you're not going to eat for a couple of weeks. Do you know what I mean? So
but also a lot of that would be not feast and famine time, but
water buffalo maybe. But
but a lot of it, like 60% of what you gain in the first few days will be water.
Yeah, of course,
and you've got to enjoy that time with your family. You've got to have that downtime. But when we see, I'm going back to bodybuilding because it's the easiest. And when we see people building up a post-comp stash of food, and you look at it and you're like, shit, that could feed a family of 5 for a month. Like, how fucking, like, that's disturbing to look at it. And they're tagging each other in it, and they're sharing. Do you know, a little bit of this and trying everything is fine. Again, a lot of it is what I do work with my clients, either some that are scared to eat foods like that or overeat foods like that too often. I teach them how to enjoy it without it taking over and without this whole food obsession, because being obsessed with food is never healthy. It's obsessions with food should be for people in these starving countries that are fantasizing about a meal because they've not had one for 7 days because they physically can't get one. Like, we should never be over obsessed. I mean, again, this is why it's so general. Your mum might make an amazing lasagna, and you might think about it for 5 days before you get it because you love it, but that's a memory with your mum. So again, a lot of what I get my clients to do is talk about and write down memories with food that aren't about the food. It's about where you are, who you're with,
the experience that they had during eating that meal.
But after any restrictive period, there's loads of hormonal stuff going on that means that you won't have a stop button, so you won't feel hungry. You will you won't feel full, sorry, you'll be starving. But you will eat and eat and eat to the point of discomfort where you hear about people like blacking out because they've eaten that much food.
I can't say I've gone that far yet.
And do you know what? Again, that's a pretty much guarantee after you get off stage. That is what you're going to want to do. And it's fine, and take a little bit of time off training. But ultimately, if you're training for the right reasons, and if you want to improve your body, and if you're dedicated about the sport, because we also have to remember bodybuilding isn't fitness, it's not health. Like, your off season can be, to a certain extent, but it's an extreme sport.
It is,
And only elite people, athletes, will get to the top. Because, like anything, it's difficult, and there's not many people capable of that. A lot of people think they are. But it's with any restrictive diet, it's gonna happen.
No, you can see it, and it's what's the reason why you're doing that diet? Like you touched on there. Is it for a short-term goal? Is there an actual target goal in mind? Because a lot of what we do, especially like on the fitness courses, is goal setting. Once you get a client, you want them to figure out what are your wants and needs, and then how can we get them, and how can we micromanage it.
So it's setting them short-term actions.
Exactly. That's what. That's essentially what you need to do. So, what's the client's goal? Is it right? Okay, this is the goal. This is the time frame that they're in. Well, unfortunately, to hit that within this time frame, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. And that's just how you're going to achieve it. Whereas if it's more of a sustainable long-term approach that they're wanting, trust me, not many clients that are wanting weight loss are going to come up to you and say, right, I want a very long, sustainable.
No, do you know what? Approach. Because mine have genuinely been following me for a while.
Right.
they are bought into that.
So they know what you offer, so that's why they've approached you.
Yeah, and it's never, because if you drop weight really quick, you're going to put it back on really quick.
And trust me, as trainers, we know that that's going to happen.
But that's science. Like, we understand why that's the case.
Exactly. But the client, I'm saying the client is a very general term. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But it's right. Oh, there's a trainer there. I'll be able to go up to him. I've got a wedding that I want to drop weight for. But then what about after that wedding? Yeah. And it's kind of like, well,
it's that sort of goal isn't enough.
Yeah.
But I find, because I'm expensive. Yeah. Like, I set my price of what I'd be prepared to pay for my service.
Yeah, which is good. Again, this is another total different podcast that we can do on that. Yeah. But a lot of people don't do that as well. It's like, how much are you willing to pay for yourself? Yeah. You want to be a £20 trainer?
I'm offering a service that basically, if it had existed when I was going through all the times of struggling, so after I'd had treatment for anorexia, bulimia and binge eating, and I just had disordered eating, which in some contexts can be like more difficult because it's loads of different shit all like muddled together that you just can't work through. Yeah. So had a coach like me existed, I would have got through it a lot quicker.
Right. Yeah.
So that is what my service, and not every client comes to me with disordered eting. They might be overweight because they just overeat a little bit every day. But then obviously those clients are so easy.
Yeah, because it's quite an easy energy balance equation that you've just got to work out there for them, isn't it? Where, as I can imagine, I take me out to you because you're dealing with a lot of external factors as well with a client. And like you say, everybody is different. They've got different backgrounds, they've got different jobs, they've got different lives at home that we don't even know about.
But you've got to, so like some people, it's really important to get their family on board. Mm-hmm. So then I have to do a plan that includes family meals that everyone will eat. Yeah. But for other people, their family don't want to support them for whatever reason. So you have to then work with the client to, if they want, maintain a relationship with that family, but also be really strong about their goals and why. And this can be used in office situations, friendship situations. Yeah. So like my friends will tell you, if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. I don't care who I offend. I don't care if it's a birthday. If it doesn't fit with my goal, 30th birthdays and like a wedding aside, because I think that they're special.
Yeah, of course.
Anything else, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I teach my clients to be that sure of what they want and that strong in those conversations, because as soon as you start giving in, people will just see that you're an easy target and that you're easy to persuade.
You're vulnerable then, aren't you? You've shown your vulnerabilities.
And a lot of my clients as well, once, this isn't a great marketing tool, but once they start working with me, they end up like, not in a savage way, because I'm not one of these people that's like, cut out the shit friends, like it's not that easy.
Yeah.
But a lot of my clients, after a few months, end up single.
Right.
I've had people in like really long-term relationships, and then when I've got them talking about what they want and their goals and why, and it's so deep, like it's not just lose weight for a holiday or gain weight to be healthy because I've been underweight for years. Like there's so many different reasons that people want to do what they want to do, and they realise that actually their partners or their family have never been on the same page.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be on the same page, they just have to be respectful and supportive and not try and persuade you off track.
Yeah.
Because if they really cared about you and wanted you to be healthy and happy, because I'll also never support a goal that's not healthy. Yeah. That's the epitome of everything. Like you have to be healthy. Mm-hmm. Otherwise nothing is sustainable long term. Mm-hmm. And when they realise that all these people have done is drain them for years, or another one is they've realised that friends and family have been trying to persuade them off track, because most people that come to me have tried every diet under the sun. Mm-hmm. And friends and family or co-workers, office situations have always been the downfall, should I say. Yeah. But what a lot of people try and do is justify their own shit behaviour by pulling other people off track. Mm-hmm. So like say we worked together and I decided, and you decided you were having a diet.
Right.
Having a diet. You were going to diet because you wanted to lose weight for holiday.
Yeah.
I'd come in on Wednesday and it's your birthday, so I bought in a birthday cake and I'm so excited, I want to smash in that birthday cake, but you tell me you're not gonna. And I'm like, shit, maybe I shouldn't, because I could do with losing a bit of weight. But if I persuade you to have a slice, that makes my behaviour of picking a slice okay.
You'll feel better for it almost, like you feel like we've got an excuse now, everybody else is doing it. Yeah.
And that's, again, something that we've created in society. Well, they're
Yeah.
doing it, so I'll do it. Or they've said it's okay, or it's Wednesday, and I always drink a bottle of wine on a Wednesday because Sharon in the office does. So we'll just text each other about why we're drinking wine. That's fucked. Like,
office situations. I've worked in offices as well, and they are weird situations. It's like Fish and Chip Friday. Everybody brings in a fish and chips.
There's always
Fat Friday were one of them.
Everything we do is around food. So again, teach my clients how to have things in their life, have meaningful relationships, spend time with friends and family, partners without food.
Yeah.
Because you should be able to enjoy food, but it shouldn't always. Everything that people do, a meal out, someone's birthday, leaving drinks, someone's retiring, it's always food and drink.
Yeah.
But if we go back like 100 years, how many people did we die? How many people did we have dying of obesity-related illnesses?
Yeah.
Like none.
Not compared
we are
to now.
literally eating ourselves to death.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of an obesity epidemic, and no one is saying it's because people don't have self-control.
Yeah.
And they want to numb feelings or justify shit food choices because of lack of education.
Yeah.
But also the education and the information is out there. People would just rather be ignorant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, again, a big issue, like just ignorance to facts.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, it's kind of difficult because if you talk to an old elder person, they'll know food would have something to do with it. So it's almost like a kid not telling a child not to press a red button, but they know that pressing that red button is going to feel pretty good, and they want to find out what happens on the other side of it.
Is this something he says all the time?
No, that was just.
All right, is it new? Is this new?
I've read this one before.
All right, yeah, it's interesting. Red button, go on.
Red button, yeah. So back to my red button.
Now he's got a Sky record. What's he gonna do?
So they know that.
Do you mean temptation?
Temptation and things. I mean, I was watching a TV show not too long ago, and it's not often I watch TV shows about food and eating because, again, I can think of a million one reasons of why it's been shot wrong, or there might be a bias behind it and certain things.
A lot of it is biased and on emotion and opinion, isn't it? Yeah.
But this elderly couple, eat well for less. It was. Wife loves it because she likes to know like how to eat for a bit cheaper.
Eat well for less.
So we're watching it anyway. This elderly couple. Both eating themselves into type 2 diabetes.
I was
diabetes.
going to say type 1.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. Freaking hell, I'm supposed to be educated here. Type 2 diabetes.
Yeah,
and
it's fucked that.
And they know they're doing wrong, but still, there's a big cabinet there with the sweets in. They're eating it every night.
Did you
she
see
only
that
eats sausage.
BBC documentary?
Which one was that?
Oh no, we don't have enough time today, but I'll write it down again for you.
Yeah.
But it was basically, sorry to cut you off, but it was a house full of obese people, and I don't mean just 2 or 3 stone overweight. I mean like some of them were nearly immobile. And there was very conflicting sides. So one side were people that were trying to lose weight healthily, still ate a bit of foods that they liked, but were exercising more and thinking about portion sizes. And the other side were this body positive movement, which I hate.
Right.
Because it's so damaging, and they don't realise the negative impact that they're having.
Do you mean body positive as in like I'm overweight and I'm
promoting it as a lifestyle choice?
Yeah. So this is me, enjoy me for what I am, and I'm
love all my body.
But that's another subject in time, because she talks about veganism, and then it's like that own little circle of body positive obese people.
But these groups of people are so narrow-minded, and in this document, it was like a I want to say like reality. It wasn't a documentary. It was a bit of a reality 2-part.
Right.
But they were trying to lead the others off track.
Right.
And claiming that science about obesity is outdated and incorrect.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, science is science.
Statistics and facts and data that's there showing the obesity rates increasing, and also death by obesity rates increasing.
But like,
that's not a lie.
I mean, it's the second biggest cause of cancer. Like, we can't. But then people, because now it's like 1 in 2 people will get cancer.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about cancer in a negative way because it'll offend someone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if someone's fat and that's caused cancer, why do we not talk about it?
Yeah, no.
Like, surely,
point, yeah.
I'm sure that person, if they could choose to have known what they know now and not get cancer, they're not bothered about being offended. Like, they would rather not have cancer.
Exactly, yeah.
And a lot of it comes down to, so when you were talking about, when I really rudely interrupted you.
No, it's all right.
The couple with the big cupboard of food.
Yeah.
Again, what I do for myself, because I love food. I love shit food. I love chocolate. I love sweets. I love like takeaways, pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always tell myself, again, what I do with my clients, food will always be there.
Yeah.
So we get scared, and like you'll see it at birthdays or Christmas time. We like stockpile food, like we're fucking gonna go into a famine. Like cupboards are bursting, it's all over the sides, like the fridge is full.
Yeah.
We've got backups in the freezer. And it's like, why? Like that food is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So just because at Christmas we eat certain foods, you could eat that food in summer if you really wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I teach my clients how to introduce little bits of it all the time,
yeah.
but also that for some goals, those types of foods don't serve you. And that you might not be eating them for 3 months, but then after that, you can eat whatever you want, but not in that binge sense. So because of the work that we'll have done, I actually had 2 clients go to America in the same week, just coincidence. Both off plan, given full freedom, they both came back lighter.
Yeah. Look at that. So they've learnt something though. Do you think they've almost like learnt behaviours moving into it?
And also that you can order a meal and you don't have to finish it.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, if you go down and sit into a restaurant and you want a meal and you want it a certain way, don't be afraid to ask for it a certain way.
I'm the fussiest order.
You're sat down, they're serving you. So if you want poached eggs instead of chips, for example, just ask.
My food must get spat in all the time because I am so like, it is a joke with my friends. They're like, she can order first because she's the fussy one. But yeah, you're paying for it, so why not? Like you've just got, but you've got to give people that confidence.
Yeah.
Or get them to choose to learn how to be that confident. Because I've kind of, again, this is a strange way of looking at it, but because of eating disorders, and my parents were trying to help me when I was younger and they didn't really know what to do, they let me eat whatever I wanted.
Right.
So whether that was from an anorexia way and I just ate a plate of vegetables, or it was a binge eating way and they just let me overeat, they thought they were helping by just giving me access to food.
Right.
So I've always been able to say, no, that's what I want, that's how I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
And now obviously I use that in a healthier way to suit my goals at a time.
Yeah.
So I'm a very confident person. Like I'll walk into somewhere and say, I don't want it like that. Will you do it like this? And if they say we can't, I'll say, right, well, thanks. You're not getting my money, sort of thing.
Yeah. And that can be a difficult thing. It can be such a difficult thing.
It's so difficult. But then, like friends and family, when they're trying to persuade you to eat because they've cooked.
Yeah. You don't want to offend.
It's having that conversation before, or giving them, or getting them to understand that if they have a little portion, that's fine. Yeah, rather than just eating en masse all the time. And you could go on for days and days about it, can't you? In terms of like mum's good old cooking. I know.
And stuff, but anyway. Because we talk about peer groups, peer pressures when you're at school, and things, that leads into adult life so much. I mean, office environment, we talked about that, and there were one thing we talked about BBC. There were a BBC documentary again where they just banged some donuts, Krispy Kreme donuts, in an office and just timed how long it took.
And it was like seconds, wasn't it?
And it almost takes you back to like looking at when they do research on rats, and you put a donut in there and see what happens. It goes within the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost like that type of scenario. But it's been great to chat with you, Sophia.
Yes.
It's been absolute breath of fresh air having somebody in and giving a really good view of nutrition and what you do with your clients and the whole mental well-being approach to it as well. So if anybody who's listened to this and they're at the end now, if they want to get in contact with you, what's the best way of doing so?
I've got obviously my social media, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll
right, yeah.
Can you put it on?
What's the name of your company? Is it
Apollo Nutrition? It's Apollo Nutrition, named after my gorgeous dog.
Right, yeah.
I just couldn't think of a name, and he is my world. We haven't touched on that, but dogs and outdoors, just do it.
Yeah.
So Apollo Nutrition, and the way I'm trying to go, I'm trying to reduce my one-to-one clients to increase my service, but I'm launching like workshops, seminars, corporate stuff,
Yeah.
so that I can help people in a workshop environment in one go, basically.
Right. Fantastic.
So that my service for my one-to-one clients is going to be, it's already the best of its kind, but better.
Yeah.
And then I can help groups of people in one go.
Yeah.
I'm working with, have you heard of MoFo?
The body clinic.
Yes.
Body mechanic.
Blood. Yeah. So they're an injury rehab and blood clinic. Both, they'll hate me for saying this, but older and been in the industry for a very long time.
Experienced then.
Yeah.
She,
oh God, she's a clinical dietitian. Like, they're so clever and they're so passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
But they're helping me build these workshops because, as we've seen, I like to talk and it can all come out like blah.
Mm-hmm.
But she's helping me get stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's ready, I'm going to be doing one at Kinkobe.
Yeah.
I've got other locations sorted.
And will all these dates be published on your social channels?
Yes.
If people want to attend?
Yeah, because it is going to be ticketed. So I don't want them to... I want it to be so that I can speak to everyone one-to-one.
Yeah.
I'm not about, like, a massive room of people and me at the front talking for 2 hours. That's just boring.
Yeah.
So,
you want that personal touch with it, so you can help. Like, people that are there for you to help. You know.
Yeah,
at the
and
end
that
of the day,
they'll
you wanna
all
be able to
take
offer
something
that.
away individually. It might only be a little bit because I'll be covering a lot, but it's the, I just want people to think differently from what I say, and they don't have to get it. There's not many people that get everything I say. I get a lot of blank looks from people, but sometimes people will come back to me and they'll be like, oh, you know what you said 2 months ago? Well, I mentioned it to this person and we had a conversation and actually I get it a bit more, so now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah, just to make them think more holistically about ways and how they can solve problems, almost.
Just be healthy and happy. That's like the long
end goal.
And short.
That's the goal, innit? That's what we're wanting. Fantastic. So, Apollo Nutrition, that's where to contact you.
It's on Facebook, on Instagram as well.
Facebook, Instagram, and website coming soon.
Yeah, I'll let you know about that. It's in the making at the moment.
No problem. So what we'll do anyway, if any of you guys listening to this, if you want to get in contact with Sophia, all of her social media handles, we'll put them at the bottom. So if you're on YouTube, we'll put the links at the bottom as well. And also Facebook and Instagram, we'll look to get them in somewhere as well. So until the next one, guys, thank you very much for listening.